I'm going to focus on what's going to move the needle. And for me, it's opening my mouth to speak. Like that's going to move the needle. So the way the book sales happen, because people always ask me, like, how do you sell your book? How do you promote it? How do you market it? You can only really get my book at this time when I show up in the room. So it's typically when I go and speak, then people will buy the book. The way the bestseller happened, and this is why I'm always teaching my clients, do not be afraid to speak for free. I know it cancels out what a lot of the experts and the gurus may tell you, but speaking for free can actually help you grow and scale faster than if you didn't take your book there and really just focus on the book sales. So I became a bestseller the about an hour after I released the book. So when I put the book on Amazon, I was actually doing a commencement speech at the University of Texas at Austin. And I'm giving the speech. And of course, one of the techniques that I teach is that people should be Googling you while you're talking. Like they should never wait until after you speak and be like, hey, who's this person? Like they should be so curious about who you are that they're Googling.
Welcome to the Published and Paid podcast, where we share book, business, leadership, and life lessons in 20 minutes or less to help you build a thought leadership brand and business. My name is Jasmine Womack. I'm a former middle school language arts teacher turned seven-figure entrepreneur, and I am glad that you are here. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of the Published and Paid podcast. And today, listen, y'all, I'm bringing one of my closest friends on, but she didn't start out as a friend. She started out as my speaking coach, Dr. Jinneh Dyson. Listen, I'm gonna already tell you, like if you've been to any of my events, then you've heard Dr. Dyson speak and consult on speaking, consult on life. She's an absolute powerhouse, but if you're looking for her on social media, you may or may not find her like that. But when I tell you, she is an expert with speaking, with corporate training. And when I tell you she secures the corporate bag, that's what we're going to talk about today. So welcome to Published and Paid podcast, Dr. Dyson Williams.
Thank you, Jazz. I'm so excited to be here. Hey, y'all.
Listen, tell everybody about yourself. Tell us what you do and tell us about the work that you do.
Absolutely. I think the easiest way to describe who I am or what I do, I'm a disruptor. So I disrupt dysfunctional thinking in the workplace, whether it is schools, universities, or corporations. I'm the person that they bring in to really help shift how people think. And I do that primarily through speaking. That's been the bread and butter now for 13 years of going into organizations and really just helping people reposition and reshift how they think about life, business, processes, procedures. I'm the girl that comes in and just shake things up a little bit.
I love it. I love it. So listen, we're going to jump right to it.
Yeah.
I met Dr. Dyson in a Facebook group years ago, right? Like I think it might have been like 2018, 2019.
It was a long time ago.
And so she was posting this content about how she was getting all these speaking contracts. I was DMing her. She was leaving me on read, not responding. But one day she put in like a link in the comments with a digital product and I bought it. But either way, ended up telling her, I'm like, listen, I've been seeing all your content in this group. I'm looking for someone to help me go in this direction. I want to work with you. Like I feel pulled to you. So just to show that, you posting content, people look because I was a looker.
Which is so weird when I think about it, because I've never desired to be an entrepreneur. I've never desired to be a coach. I've never desired to be a consultant. Like never. I just wanted to help people. And people would ask, what was I doing? I'm like, well, let me just share what I'm doing. Like never. So when people are saying like, oh, we waiting for your content, we look for your content, you've helped me, it's still shocking to this day. And it's been 13 years because I've never desired any of this. I simply have just wanted to help people do life or business better. So leaving you on read in the DM, Jazz, is literally, y'all, I play on social media. I know it sounds bad. I always tell my clients do better than me, but I use social media really just to share who I am beyond work. So when people would like DM and stuff, I don't even have any of those apps like on my phone. Like I have to like intentionally log into Messenger and see it. So it'd be like hundreds of messages from people because I don't even check it. I'm just playing on social media.
So I know, like I know that I use social media to build my business, but
Yes.
you don't use social media to build your corporate business. However,
Mhm.
sharing videos, I remember you sharing this at Published and Paid Live, helped you to kind of like secure one of your first speaking contracts. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, and maybe there's somebody out there that's like me, using social media at first, that's how I was getting myself out. So when I started, it was in 2012. So social media was the space that I was going to simply tell my story. So I would tell my story, tell about all the things that I was going through personally, and then how I was helping other people. But I saw other people like saying, you got to be on, you got to post 3 times a day, you got to post this, you got to get the algorithm. This was back in 2012. Lord knows it is intensified since then. And what I realized was that this felt like a job. And I don't like jobs. I feel like I've worked hard my whole life. Like I've had to work hard in corporate America. I've had to work hard going to school. I've had to work hard to get these degrees. And I was like, I don't want anything in my life that feels like a job. So for social media, I had to detach from the outcome because I am a high performer. And when I do something, I want to win. And social media, sometimes you really can't control the algorithm. It's going to do what it do. You just have to keep doing your part. And for me, when I wasn't seeing traction, when it was becoming like overwhelming for me, I realized that I couldn't do that. So I started sharing and posting videos. People kept asking, what was I doing? And my very first corporate contract, it came at a time, and I'll be completely transparent, where the speaking business, it was working for me. I was getting engagements, I was out, I was speaking, but I was flying a lot. And I just had my second child. So now I'm flying with a newborn baby. I'm taking a nanny everywhere that I'm going. And I'm on the road 3 to 4 times a week because this is what you did. Like in 2015, 2016, most of the speakers that were really out there on the market killing it were men, and they didn't have to worry about taking care of their kids, just to be honest. So that lifestyle didn't work for me. I couldn't keep it up. Traveling with the baby, living in an airport. So I was like, how do I get these corporate contracts? How do I get into a place to where I'm not going from gig to gig? I'm not going from stage to stage, but I could have what I call the show money. And that's like a paycheck for an entrepreneur, where I know I could work with 1 or 2 corporations and they pay me year after year after year by me showing up. So that was really the approach that I took. And I started reaching out to people. I started looking at people that I thought was doing it. And what I found out was nobody was really doing it to that extent. And I was like, okay, if nobody's out there doing it, then I'm gonna have to do it myself. And that's when I started putting out like videos of what I was doing. And that led in 2019 to me securing my very first six-figure contract.
Six-figure contract. So for all of our listeners who are speakers or
Yeah.
aspiring speakers, what goes into securing a six-figure contract? Like, how do you
Yeah.
even have to position yourself? What does that look like?
I think the first thing is you being absolutely clear on the value and the impact that you can bring and you can make. I think that was the first thing. Like I knew that I was more than just a girl that could come in a room and stand on a stage or do a one-time training. Like I knew that the people needed what I had. So I had to be absolutely clear of the value and the impact that I could bring into the room. That was number one. The second thing is, and this is where a lot of entrepreneurs, they fall short. They work with corporations or they try to work with corporations and they focus on what they're selling versus how they're serving. So they're talking about, well, I do this. Well, they don't care about what you do. They care about the problem that you can solve within their infrastructure, within their organization. So I had to do a lot of research. I had to become a data nerd and truly learn what was impacting the bottom line at the organizations and industries that I wanted to serve and how my program, thinking up how that could help eliminate some of the struggles in those organizations. So that was the second thing. The third thing, it's all about relationship. And I tell people that every single day. It is moving away from the pitching, which is what a lot of people teach you is how to pitch, how to create the perfect pitch. It's moving away from pitching and it's really building relationships with people because people buy people, not corporations.
That is so good. Listen, I hope y'all picking up what she's putting down. So for the
Yeah.
introverts or for people who feel like they're awful with building relationships, they don't know how to connect to other people. What are
Yeah.
some strategies that you feel that they can implement to build that
Yeah.
connectivity muscle?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, Jasmine, because I am actually an introvert. I know I show up and position myself as an extrovert, but I don't like small talk. Like that is the hardest thing for me to do. When you go into conferences and events and you gotta have small talk, I don't do that. Normally I'm sitting in the back, I'm sitting in the corner somewhere. I'm like, please don't talk to me, please don't see
Right.
me. Let me just be. So it's not even about being an introvert or an extrovert. What it is about is connecting with people that you believe that you can bring value to and they can bring value to you. So if we think about it, every single one of us, we have at least five people, whether it's our friends, family, or coworkers, that we can pick up the phone right now and call. Like five people that we can pick up. We start there. That's what relationship building is about. It's not about you going to a networking event or you going somewhere and you writing down 20 people. Okay, I got to talk to all 20. No, it's about starting with the people that are closest to you and saying, okay, here's what I have been thinking about. I know that you have expertise in this. What do you think about my idea? Who do you know that can help me? And how can I help you win? Like, I think if we take the pressure off, because for me, like when I would hear, oh, you got to talk to people. Like, I talk to people anyway. Like, when I'm in a grocery store, if somebody gives me something, I'm going to say thank you. If I have a question, I'm looking for a food item, I'm going to ask it. From there, it's how do we have conversation? That's what relationships look like.
How do we have conversation? Now, I know that you are the author of a book, Think Your Way Up,
Yeah.
and you don't promote your book like that. You don't, but it's not, y'all, I looked it up on Amazon. It's like $87 for one copy because
I'm going to go buy it from them.
somebody's trying to resell it. But
Yeah.
you are a best-selling author.
I,
And I want to talk about this because a lot of people think that best-selling author is limited to a title. They don't
yeah.
equate best-selling author to actually selling a ton of books. But
Yeah.
you sell bulk orders of books on a consistent basis, to organizations and to companies. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So for me, the book was always like the second, like secondary for me. Like it was something that people kept asking, like, can you put this in a book? Can you capture this? So I never set out to be an author. Y'all, I am probably the laziest entrepreneur that you would ever meet. Like I really am. Like I'm gonna do the bare minimum. I'm not gonna say that. What I am gonna do, I'm gonna focus on what's gonna move the needle. And for me, it's opening my mouth to speak. Like that's gonna move the needle. So the way the book sales happen, because people always ask me, like, how do you sell your book? How do you promote it? How you market it? You can only really get my book at this time when I show up in the room. So it's typically when I go and speak, then people will buy the book. The way the bestseller happened, and this is why I'm always teaching my clients, do not be afraid to speak for free. I know it cancels out what a lot of the experts and the gurus may tell you, but speaking for free can actually help you grow and scale faster than if you didn't take your book there and really just focus on the book sales. So I became a bestseller the about an hour after I released the book. So when I put the book on Amazon, I was actually doing a commencement speech at the University of Texas at Austin. And I'm giving the speech. And of course, one of the techniques that I teach is that people should be Googling you while you're talking. Like they should never wait until after you speak and be like, hey, who's this person? Like they should be so curious about who you are that they're Googling. So what happened? I'm delivering this commencement speech and people were Googling and seeing that, oh, I had this book and they were grabbing the book in that moment. So within an hour after I released it, the book went bestseller in 13 countries. So the way that I position my book now is that when schools bring me in, like school districts, I don't just work single handedly with schools, a district has to bring me in. If they want me, they also get the book. Like it's not you get me or it's we're an and. Like we go together. So you're going to get me and you're going to get the book. And what I've also done with schools, and I think, Jazz, this may be helpful for your people, is that I have license out my book to where if schools wanted to have it translated in multiple languages, they can do that. The first time I paid for it, when I got it translated into Spanish, because I was working with school districts that had huge demographic of Hispanic students, but now I sell the license to the school so they can translate it into Mandarin, they can translate it into Arabic, whatever those demographics they serve. It is no child left behind. Everybody needs a copy, and this is how we serve our people.
Listen, like I get asked often, if I have a book, how do I sell it?
Yeah,
How do I sell the book if I'm speaking? If I'm speaking, how
yeah.
do I sell the book? So one of the things that you just shared was that it's a package deal. It's not a you get me or you get me and the book. It's just like if you bring me in, you're getting me and the book. So is there a certain way that you package that in your proposals, or is that a verbal conversation? What does that look like?
Absolutely. It's a little bit of both. So the first thing that I do is I don't even go to a proposal until after I sold it with them verbally. So the conversation for me is we are talking. I am understanding your needs. I'm understanding your vision. I'm understanding your value. And then I'll share with them, okay, so when I come, here's the spaces that I want to touch on. So I'm letting them know, hey, I want to touch on this. And I'll say, and I have a book. In my book, I go deeper into habits number 4 through 7. So I know that you want me to cover all of this, but due to our time and because I want to make it interactive for your people, in the book, I go deeper into that. In the book, I cover exactly what to do, how to do it, and it's a tool. It's a guide. It's something that your teachers can use. It's something that your counselors can use. It is something that if I would say is a necessity, I would say take the book if you don't take me, because the book is a necessity. And because I put it like that, like I'm willing to walk out if you're going to leave this book on a table. And they're like, well, how can we have both? And that's the key.
Ooh, the positioning. The
It's
positioning.
positioning. It's positioning. But yes, but it also starts too with number one, understanding the value and impact that you bring. So I'll share this story. It was a school district. This was in 2016. 2016, they were having this huge expo. And they called me at the last minute to see if I was available. So they said, oh, we want to bring you in. Can you do a workshop? So I looked to see the other speakers, and these were like heavy hitter speakers, people that had big names, big followers. Like, I was like, wow, these people are going to be there. Like, of course I can go. So I told them how much my investment was and said, oh, well, we don't have a budget. And I'm like, you don't have a budget. Like, I know you got a budget because you bring it in
Right.
people that I know they are not going to speak for free anywhere. So I was really struggling with this. I was like, okay, does this even make sense? Like they're willing to pay other people, but they're not willing to pay me. And I think that's a real conversation that we have to have as
Mm.
coaches, as consultants, as authors of like, why do some people get the big bucks and we don't? But there was something inside of me that said I needed to be there. And I always talk everything over with my husband, even though he has no clue about this business. And he was like, I don't think you should go. I think you should put your foot down because you are just as talented. And I was like, there's something in me that says I should go. So I went ahead and agreed to go. 2 days before the event, they called me and they said, hey, we actually have a book budget. We can't pay you as a speaker, but can we get 250 copies of your book? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, yes. I don't even have 250 copies. I probably got 5 copies of that book in the garage. So I'm like, oh snap. Now I can figure out how to get 224 hours. So I said, absolutely. So I did not negotiate down on the book because I'm like, I got to make some money if I'm going. So I sold the book at $20. So 20 times 250, you do the math. The next day, they called and I said, hey, we know this is last minute. Instead of 250, we really need 400. Can you do 400? And I said, absolutely. Again, I'm like, I'll figure out how to get these books. If I have to handwrite the book, like if they don't have these books, they're gonna figure it out. And then they ask, is there a discount? Because now they're trying to negotiate with me. And I'm like, well, you only get a discount if it's $4.99 and up. Like I just made that up. Like nobody's ever asked for 400 books. So I was like, no, there's no discount. So 400 books times $20. And that selling that book was actually more than what I would have been paid as a speaker that day. But here's what happened. By agreeing to speak for free and bringing the book, it got this book in the hands of every single principal in this school district, of every single counselor in this school district, the superintendent, all the people from the district level. And because of me saying yes to that free engagement and being willing to figure out how to have 400 books ready in 24 hours, that has led to a 9-year partnership with this school. They bring me back every single year. So this is why I will always be a proponent of number one, having a book because it's an extension of you. And I will be a proponent of making sure that you're showing up in places, even if they can't pay you, but you can still leverage and scale and sell yourself in that room.
You touched on so much there. Like, I know so many people just because of the mindset. Can you have 250 books? Can you have 400 books? And instead of saying yes and figuring it out, they would have just felt defeat and said no and let the opportunity pass. You was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to tell you that. Yes, I can get it, and we'll figure the rest out later.
If the book would have cost the whole speaker money, I would have made it. I would have made that investment because I believed in the work that I was doing so much. And I also know that opportunities of a lifetime have to be seized in the lifetime that they're given. Like you can't fumble the bag because you don't know how you can make it work. Somebody out there can do it. Yeah, somebody out there.
Somebody out there is doing it.
Somebody out there. And every program that I've sold, I've never had the programs ready. I've sold it and then said, oh, snap, I got 2 weeks to get a curriculum together. I have never in my life, and if you're one of my schools that's listening, hello, but I have never in my life had the program ready before I've sold it. Because here's why. Why would I do all the work for free? And then I have it and then nobody's going to buy it. Why not sell it when I've established a need, when I know the price point, and then I go and create it? And that's been the mantra the entire time that I've been an entrepreneur.
That's it.
Sell it and create it.
Now, I want to talk just a little bit about speaking for free because and that building relationships part, because especially in the online education space, it's a pitch fest. And people don't think, and people don't even think that you're taking your business seriously these days unless you're pitching. It's almost like that's the automatic go-to. I got to pitch, I've got to pitch.
Yeah.
However, in your method, you teach your clients something different. And you teach speaking for free to build up your speaker brand and business. Whereas a lot of people are saying, listen, if you're not getting paid, don't speak at all. Yeah. I would love for you to, you touched on it, but I'd like for you to talk a little bit more about that, because that's really a contrarian view, in compared to what's taught out there a lot by some of the your gurus.
Yeah, so I'll start with that question first. So I'm a disruptor. So everything I've ever done in life, from my earliest memories of a kid, I've always done things that have been different than other people. I've always danced to my own beat. I've always created my own narrative and story. And I've just been comfortable with doing things my way. And for me, it's all about a value exchange. It's about marketing. It's how some people invest in Facebook ads, and that's how they market their business. For me, my marketing is when I show up in the room, because can't nobody sell the way that I sell. Can't nobody speak the way that I speak. Can't nobody tell the stories the way that I tell it. So for me, it's always like, where is the value? And is this going to be a good return on my investment? Last year was the first time that I spoke for free in years. It was a conference. It was in New York. It was in Times Square, New York. And they were having 3,000 physicians at the conference. That's a big part of my clientele. So around 40% of my audience that I work with are physicians. I do a lot of communication training for physicians because they have the medical story, but they don't know how to tell it in a way that's compelling. So here I am, I'm sitting, okay, New York City, how much would that cost? Okay, for me to go to New York City, let's just say that's $2,000. For hotel, food, flight, $2,000. Okay, I'm going to go $2,000. There's 3,000 people at the conference. In the room that I was in, it was probably maybe 350. I don't need to convert all 350. I only need a good 3 to 5 to make it worth my time. So, and I'll just give out just some numbers. So if the lifetime value, so the value for one client is 10 grand, and I know that I can connect easily with 5 people, that's 50 grand. So you can't tell me you wouldn't be willing to invest $2,000 for 50,000. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's okay,
Right.
I'm gonna put 2,000 up, but I'm gonna walk away with 50 grand. And I actually walked away with double from that by being in the room. Because I go into rooms. So when I say speak for free, let's be clear. I go into rooms where there are decision makers, where there are people that can sign a check or write a check that moment. I'm not going into rooms where they're like, oh, we're gonna have to think about it. Okay, we're gonna have to talk it over with our team. No, I'm not doing that because I can do that from home. I go into rooms where there are people that can make decisions in that moment. They control their budget. They know the needs of their organization. They know their vision. They know their challenges, and they can make a decision in that moment. So that's what I do. The same thing with the schools back in 2016. Superintendents, principals, counselors, those are decision makers on campus. They have access to budgets, they have access to give you a yes. So I only go into those rooms. Now, every now and then for charity, I will go and I'll speak at youth groups. But I'm not going to ever tell my clients to go into rooms where people cannot make a decision and you speak for free because you need exposure. You don't need exposure. God is your PR. So I don't need exposure. God will elevate me when it's time to be elevated. What I do need is spaces where I can connect with people and help them shift and think about things in a different manner.
I love it. I love it. Now, I want to talk a little bit around the
Yeah.
work that you do with speakers. I know that you
Yeah.
do a lot of corporate work, but I also know that when we met, you were coming back into the coaching space. Then you
You
really
pulled me out of
doubled down.
retirement, Jazz. You pulled me out of retirement.
And then you doubled down on your corporate work. And I know that
Yeah.
you are expanding back into coaching. And I know that, some of the things that you've done for me, just in terms of helping me with my speaker framework or whatnot. So what are some of the ways in which you work with your clients?
Yeah. So primarily I work with clients on messaging because I feel like if you can get your message clear, then you can sell your message anyway. So I'm huge on messaging and I'm huge on storytelling. For many of my clients, they are high performers, they are executives, they're CEOs of companies. So they don't need a drawn out process. They need where we can meet 1 or 2 days and we can get it done. So they will come to me with a vision of like, hey, I know that I can talk about this. I know that I'm passionate about it. How do I structure my talk, number one? And then how do I package it and sell it? Because I don't just want you to have a dynamic talk. I want you to be able to package and sell that thing because I believe that the world is your stage and that people are Googling you, they're searching for you, and that somebody has your money. And I want to make sure that that money gets in their hands. So that's primarily how I work with my clients. I am contemplating, I haven't done this in a while, bringing back a membership program because I know that the speaking landscape has changed quite a bit, where people are still making the money, contracts are still writing the checks, but it's a little bit of a different process now, especially with the new administration in, and a lot of companies are like, we don't really know what's happening. So we're going to pause on our programs. We're going to wait. They are still spending, they are still selling. It just looks a little bit differently. So I've been contemplating bringing back a membership program just to help people shift and be ready for when those doors really open back up. But right now, people are still making money. It just looks different.
Love it, love it, love it. And so, can you share with our listeners and our viewers who are viewing on YouTube or LinkedIn how they can get in contact with you?
Yeah.
And if you have a free, not necessarily a free, but a resource that you'd like to share, that as well?
Absolutely. So you can find me all over social media at Dr. Jinneh. So that's the stage name. You can find me all over Dr. Jinneh Dyson, like the vacuum. And then I also just launched a podcast where it's really what I call a masterclass because I am going to be giving you all the tips and strategies about how to get into corporate speaking. And that's called Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jinneh. And the reason why I'm putting the content on the podcast and I'm putting it there free for people is that I believe no speaker left behind. Like God has been so great to me and my family. And I just want to help so many people experience the life that I live and experience the life that I feel it is truly a dream I always say that it feels like the very first time, every time that I speak, because I still get nervous, I still get the butterflies, and I still pinch myself like, man, I really get to do this for a living. And I want so many people to experience that feeling. Like it's incredible. It's incredible.
I love it, love it, love it.
I
Everyone,
know.
make sure that you go check out Dr. Jinneh's. Make sure that you subscribe to her podcast. I just subscribed to it. All right. And make sure that you check in because she every now and then, like she's a corporate trainer, but every now and then she opens up classes. She opens up
Thank you.
her group programs. Every now and then she'll open up her calendar for VIP days, which is how we met. I actually flew to Dallas for a VIP day, and then a few years later, I think it was might have been last year, I,
Yeah.
I bought her to Atlanta, bought her, meaning paid for her flight and all the things. And so, listen, every now and then she opens up. So make sure that you make sure that
In
you
my
go
off
follow her.
season, in my off season, this is like peak season now. Like a basketball player, how they have off
Right.
season. So off season, I do more kind of online work. But we're in regular season now. It's on and
Make sure that
popping.
you follow her. Make sure that you subscribe to her podcast and stay in touch. And this right here was a whole masterclass. I guarantee you, if you go back, you listen to this, you take some notes, and you listen to her podcast as well and take notes, I guarantee you, you will have some momentum and a breakthrough. Okay. And so thank you guys so much for listening. If you found value in this, make sure that you like, you share, you subscribe, you leave a review and some comments and let us know how you're putting this information to use. And until next time, peace, love, and impact. And we'll put all of her links and resources in the show notes.